you know, around the time that like I had quit like Powell Peralta, I mean, Frankie had always put out those like really good parts, and they were like super like entertaining to watch. He always like broke ground in some way of like his skating, whether it's going bigger on the rails or bigger gaps, you know. And you know, when I left Powell, it actually wasn't like Powell was still really big back then, but Stacy, you know, a lot of people don't know, but Stacy had already left, and we kind of like lost our our mentor of Powell Peralta skateboards, you know what I mean? And I think like Frankie Hill did too, and like that might have affected him because he didn't have someone to guide him on videos are a big part of skateboarding, and he didn't have someone to guide him. And I think like after that, like the Powell videos, like after that probably the Powell video that was after, you know, Stacy had left, it didn't have that same feeling, you know what I mean? Like it was a weird time in skating. There was a lot of like skating had gone pressure flips and like lower, you know what I mean? It was like getting like really technical, but kind of like, you know, that New Deal era of skateboarding, which really wasn't Frankie's like thing, but like he definitely picked it up. Like, you know, he got super technical, like, you know what I mean? But you know, he had that one part, and it was just like in that Powell fun zone, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know what I mean? Like we all like know if he had someone to guide him in the right direction, like it could have been like a game changer, you know what I mean? The first time that I actually got to spend time with Frankie Hill was when I got on Powell, and we did a tour. And the tour was me, Gabriel, Rudy, and Ray Barbie and Frankie Hill and Todd Hastings. And we got in like a Suburban, and we did a California tour, and we did a demo in Burbank, we did one in Modesto, and we made our way up to San Francisco. And it was an honor to be like skating with Frankie Hill and doing demos. And like, as kind of cheesy as that sounds now, like to do your first tour, like a California tour and hitting spots like Modesto and all this, like it was the greatest experience of my life, you know what I mean? Because I definitely like looked up to Frankie, and I looked up to Ray, and they were like Powell, like, you know, they were like pretty, you know, solid at that point, and to be traveling with them was like, you know, it was great. It's a good experience. And I remember it was funny, like when the whole time we knew we were going to like San Francisco, and it was all about Embarcadero, the 7 and the Gonzales. And you know, Frankie was like, you know, telling us stories because he'd already been there, already ollied it, and he was like, you know, it's big, it's long, it's skinny, you know what I mean? You gotta like whatever, and like, I think he wanted to like mute grab it, and he wanted to kick flip mute the 7. And you know, sure enough, we get there, like right when we get there, he's like straight up to the 7, kick flips it, ends up kick flip mute grabbing it, and then like goes up to the Gons, and he mute grabs it, you know what I mean? And I remember I was like kind of bummed because like I didn't ollie the Gons that time. I was like kind of young, I was too scared. I don't know if I had enough power to like push fast enough at it, but Rudy and Gabriel ended up doing it. It was really sick, you know? And I think in that stop too, we stopped at like, when we stopped in Santa Barbara, and it was like really cool because like I'd already seen like all like Frankie's like, you know, footage from Santa Barbara and the Powell videos. And like we went to that double set he ollied. We went to that like long, like, I don't know, it was like a 12 stair with a kink or something that he bomb dropped at like University of Santa Barbara. And we were like traveling with him, and like we wanted to skate all of his spots, you know what I mean? Like we wanted to ollie the infamous Frankie Hill double set. We wanted to like bomb drop all of his rails, and not in like a competitive way, but like as, you know, being such fans of Frankie Hill, it's like we wanted to do what he did, you know what I mean? And you know, we were like wanted to be on that same path as Frankie Hill, because he was like a pioneer of his time, like, you know what I mean? There was like the double kinks he used to do, like in La Mirada, like he did that one mute grab that like looked like he was like floating in the air, like he like ollie mute grabs, and it's just like the biggest gap you'd ever seen. It was that one down the dirt mountain. It was just like amazing, you know what I mean? And Frankie was always like a really cool guy, like, you know what I mean? Like when you get to meet him, he was always like, hey man, check out this little chivvy right here. We got this little like, you know, it's like a 6 stair with a little chivvy. He had all those little like voices and stuff, and he was funny, man. Like you can like laugh at him, laugh with him, but like he was a really good-hearted like guy, you know what I mean? And he was just super rad, you know what I mean? And he made us like very welcome on Powell. Like he was one of the guys, like, you know, that was like I think he had just like gone pro like around the time we were getting on, and he made us feel very welcome on the team. And like he was a hardcore street skater, you know what I mean? He liked stairs, he liked rails, he liked ledges, and like he put it down, you know what I mean? I mean, he went for it. Like, Frankie was the type of dude, like, he would get broke off because he was doing gnarly stuff, you know? One story, like, Frankie, we were at his house and he was like, had this like photo album of something. And it was like pictures and just memorabilia of like, you know what I mean? Like, I was tripping out looking at it. And so it's a photo album with pictures, and then like, there's just a pubic hair inside of there. And I'm just like, wait, what is this hair? And I guess it was the first time he had like, you know, got laid or went down on a chick or something. He like woke up in the morning and he had this pubic hair like stuck in his teeth, and he put the hair in there. I don't know if you still have that photo album, but if you do, it was pretty funny.